Strap on, baby. Come on.
You don't need it.
Put the strap on. Hey,
Put the
what's
strap
going on? We
Not the
got.
strap you're thinking about, Tony.
I got all these straps here for myself. Who needs them? People
Yeah,
know.
right? That's right.
Yo, everybody, what's going on? We are live for another episode of Chewin' the Fat with Chubby Dudley, and I am here with two guys who
Thank you, Bill.
beat my ass and taught my ass a lot about the wrestling business. We were also, look at that, there he is. What the longest reigning ECW tag team champions, minus the mask, the Super Destroyers, the one and only Mr. AJ Petruzzi and Doug Boom Stahl.
Boom.
What's going
All
on, guys?
right. Good to see you, brother. It's great to see you. Good to see you, AJ. I think I do.
Day.
Another day in paradise, baby.
It's so crazy to think it was like, 31, 32 years ago.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Man, time flies.
91, 92?
92, 93, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Did we have some fun or what?
It's funny. Like, Doug, I didn't realize, Doug told me how old he was before we went live. I thought you were a little closer to my age. I'll be 54 next month.
No way.
So
Okay.
I was like a real pup out of, wrestling school and all when we were working you guys. Green is grass. And so I was like really the young kid because my partner, HD, he was actually, at the time, he was, I think, almost 35.
Was he really? Okay.
Yeah, he got involved in the business in his, at like 33, 34. So, yeah, it's kind of
You guys were fun to work with.
We had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun, did we? Yeah.
It did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I want to talk with both you guys, and I'm guessing, well, I'll ask the questions and I'll let both you guys answer and tell your stories because I honestly, I kind of, when I do these interviews, it's kind of like, all right, yeah, it's for the fans and all, but fuck, it's for me too because I want to know about you guys. I don't know Doug's story. The little bit of AJ I know is when I was a 12, 13-year-old kid, I was seeing him on TV, and then 10 years later, I'm in the ring with this guy. I'm like, holy shit, I watched this kid when I was growing up. Like,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask both of you guys this. Like, when did you guys become actual wrestling fans? Like, when did you start watching? What got you interested?
Doug, you're on.
I personally, I never got into wrestling, professional wrestling.
Stop.
No, honest to goodness. I got interested in boxing, amateur boxing. Years old, 210, 220 pounds. I saw the Rocky movie.
Okay.
And I told my dad, I said, I want to box. I want to go box. So he looked around. He found out that there was this trainer down there, coach, who became, oh my gosh, he became a mentor. And he was a mentor to many, Dick Hess. And Dick Hess, he put me in the ring, and I thought I was in pretty good shape. He taught me a few lessons right away, and I was like 14 years old, 210 pounds. I was right away. He took a liking to me, and I took a liking to him. And I couldn't last with him in the ring for a round because I was just all blown up.
Sure.
And because back then, boxing, you got to have your speed, your agility, and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And Dick was this mountain of a man from Hancock, Maryland, with brothers, and that if you heard about him from Hancock, Maryland, if there wasn't a fight going on, they couldn't find a fight. They fought each other. So I mean, these guys were mountain men, and this guy was well respected, and he took me under his wing, and I started boxing amateurly. I had a ton of amateur fights.
Okay.
And I went on to win the Golden Gloves, and I went on to win the AAU. I was in 2015. I won the Junior Heavyweight Championship of the United States at 2015. When I was 15. Excuse me. And it's because I really didn't have to fight anybody. There was only one other guy that had to fight in the country at my age and my weight class. Okay. So I got the medal. I got the, I guess the recognition, and then I went on to the Golden Gloves, and I got to fight guys like Herman Pettigrew, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles and knocked him out 21 seconds in the first round, all that good stuff. So I was all about boxing. I went on into the Army after I graduated high school because I thought at that time I'd want to be a Maryland State Trooper, fly on the helicopters. I liked emergency medicine and everything. And I ended up on the Fort Bragg boxing team.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a parachute accident. I couldn't box anymore. I was able to stay in the military and all that stuff. So I did my 3 years, got out, thought I'd turn pro. Excuse me. The next thing I know, I'm talking to this guy. I get assigned to a reserve unit. His name is Neil Karakoff. I'm sure everyone's heard of Neil Karakoff. And we look so much alike that he said, hey, go with me to Allentown. I'm going to go meet Alpha. And that night, a couple weeks after that, we went and we met Alpha in Allentown. Walked into his basement. There was Alpha, Rocky Johnson. And I got to talk to Rocky for a while. And he said, you know, you got the looks. Back then I was much leaner. He said, you got the looks of Dolph Lundgren. You know, you could be that Russian guy. You know, they're always looking for gimmicks.
Sure.
And, man, I was broke, brother. I was broke. I was out of the Army. I was broke. I checked this out. I went up there. Neil and I got his father, Dick Karakoff, helped us get an apartment. We lived off Airport Road. I worked at Living Well Fitness. And that's where I met, of course, Dwayne Johnson. He'd come in after school. But that's where I went to school. I mean, that's where I went to wrestling school. Never knew anything really about AJ until later on. Neil and I went on. We went to Hawaii and Guam a couple times. I met the Fantastics, you know, Bobby and his brother. Super nice guys. And we wrestled over there and we did our thing. And then Neil and I kind of split off. And kind of probably because of his father, but he wanted to go more solo and do a bunch of other gimmicks. And then I get a call from AJ, from Tony. Say, hey, what are you doing, Fritz? Whatever he called me. What'd you call me? Something.
Fritz.
He called me Fritz. Hey, I'm looking for a partner. I'm up here at the ECW. And I'm like, never heard of it, you know. And next thing you know, I go up there. I meet Todd Gordon. Of course, I run in with AJ. There's where the magic kind of happened. We started having fun, and, you know, they had the tournament. We won the first tournament. They put us over, and, you know, we ran that thing.
Well, let me, Hunter Q.
What's
Okay.
that?
Before we get into Hunter Q, let me ask you this, Doug.
Oh, my gosh. Hunter Q. Love the guy.
So you
love.
At that point, you hadn't heard of ECW. Had you heard of like Tri-State Wrestling with Joel Goodhart?
Yeah, I heard of Tri-State. And after I got in with ECW, they would call the guys looking for, you know, shoot, my gosh, I can't even think of them, you know, workers that, you know, were jobbers. You know, I got a few phone calls from, what was it? Jody Hamilton.
Okay.
Jody Hamilton would call me. I'd go do some house shows and some TV tapings for the NWA. I think it was NWA or WCW at the time. And I drive down to Georgia and all that stuff. But meanwhile, I was wearing the hood as a Super Destroyer, Super D2, working beautifully with Hunter Q. Robbins III and also AJ Petruzzi. So it was a great time. It was a great run.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, AJ, how about you? This
story's even much better than
this
mine.
is going to get interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah. I refuse to answer and ground of insemination.
It will.
Well, you know what? It's almost the same as him. I really wasn't interested in pro wrestling. In high school, I was a pretty good amateur wrestler.
Okay.
And I just, you know, back in those days in I graduated in 69.
Okay.
And we started a family and we had to make ends meet. So I worked at Bethlehem Steel in I think it was 72 or 3 is when we got hired. And we were making a hell of a lot of money at Bethlehem Steel here in PA.
Sure.
And when you know it, we got laid off. And a couple of years go by and I was getting myself pretty out of shape. I was gaining weight. I was drinking. I became a semi-alcoholic. And when I mean semi, I mean it was close to full blown.
Gotcha.
And my father, God rest his soul, he come over to one night. I said this here in a lot of interviews and that. He come over and says, "What the hell are you waiting for?" "What do you mean?" "If you're waiting for Bethlehem Steel to call you back, you got a lot to think about, because get your ass moving and find something else." So I think it was a couple of days later, a couple of my friends showed up here, and we got wasted to the point where we were down the back of my garage, which was only maybe 50 yards away. And I couldn't even make it up from my garage to my house. I was so intoxicated.
Wow.
And there was liquid coming out of every orifice in my body. And it wasn't pretty. And my wife said, "It's time." Cold turkey. From the next couple of days, I was cold turkey. Started to work out, started running. And this is where I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I started running, getting myself back in shape.
Okay.
And again, people want to write a book about this. Well, I'm running by Jim Thorpe's monument, a big Ford town country pulls up on the highway, and I thought they were looking for directions. And I look inside, and who's in the front seat but Tony Altimore and Captain Lou Albano, and this guy in the back seat by the name of Tom Chapman, who's a resident of Jim Thorpe, PA here.
Okay.
I didn't know it. I had no idea, but he was a referee.
Did you know who Lou Albano was when this car pulls up?
Well, I kind of sort of did, because my grandparents, from being Italians from Italy, would watch the wrestling on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they were diehards, and they loved Bruno Sammartino. And Tom said to me, he goes, "These guys have been watching you, and I told them about you, and they're looking for wrestlers, and you're an Italian guy." And I thought this was a joke, right? So I said, "Yeah, sure." And then I started running again. And they pulled up a little bit further. And Tom said, "They're serious. They would like you to come to Madison Square Garden as a guest. I will pick you up and take you there to watch a wrestling show." I thought, well, I'm laid off. What's this going to hurt? And we did. Tom Chapman and his son and myself go to Madison Square Garden, New York, and they put us right up front. And it just so happened that night it was Jimmy Snuka and Sergeant Slaughter, and Snuka was diving off the cage. And we're sitting there, and I'm thinking, this is pretty cool. I really wasn't interested in anything like this. It just didn't. I'm laid off collecting from the Bethlehem Steel. I got to make ends meet here sooner or later. If they don't call us back, we're screwed. But anyway, we go back. Let's see. After the show, we go to the hotel, and everybody's there. And I mean everybody, all the workers that were there, even the jobber guys that we became friends with. And over there, Manuel Soto, Eric Estrada, or not Eric, but one of the Estrada guys.
Jose Luis Estrada.
There were so many guys, and we were just out of our element, because, who am I, from a nobody town from Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania? Nobody knew nothing. But, it was one of those interesting things where we got to meet everybody, and I was bigger than half the talent there. And It was weird, because we went back home. Next thing, we get a call. Tom calls me again and says they're doing TV taping in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Agricultural Hall. They'd like you to come down there and meet some of the guys. I says, well, all right. So we go down there, and who the hell's in? Again, they're doing TV taping, so Hogan's there, and Tony Atlas, and all the guys are in there. So I meet these couple of guys there. Dave Barbie from Philadelphia. I don't know if you remember Dave Barbie.
No.
He was a power lifter.
Okay.
He had the national drug-free powerlifting title at that time, a 500-pound bench press.
Okay.
He was there, and this guy by the name of Seth Cohen, monster, and Mario Mancini,
Okay.
And I forget who else, but then when we were there, they throw us these security shirts. They said, "You guys are going to be security." And what? We don't even know what the hell we're doing, right? We're going to be security at Ag Hall. We were. We did the ring, and I'll never forget. That was the night that the Samoans wrestled Rocky Johnson and
Tony Atlas, probably, yeah.
and they beat the Samoans, and they had the wooden chairs back then. And when they threw it over the Samoan's head, it broke, and one of the wooden spikes got embedded in one of the Samoans' necks. But Johnson and them won. So the next thing, they bring us back into the dressing room afterwards, and they said, introduce us to guys. And one of the big shot, well, Tony Altimore comes over and said, "Listen, they'd like you to come to the training camp." Why? They said, they'd like you to be involved. You and Barbie and Mancini and Cohen and.
So you had no idea. You go to the Garden, and then this. You had no idea that's what they were thinking.
I have no idea. They were looking for talent back in 1983. This was 1983 now.
Okay.
Because Bruno and San Martino and the boys were there, and they were looking for Italians at the time. Dave Barbie looked like a Russian, a German.
Okay.
So I said to Tom Chapman, the referee, which, again, we didn't know he was a Vince's ref. And he'd go in and do the matches. So he said, "Listen, I'm going to pick you up and take you to a place in Connecticut, not far from the office at Passerello's Quest. That's the training center now for Vince for the new camp, whatever." And Tony Altimore was going to run it. He was the boss. So if anybody doesn't know who Tony Altimore was, partners of Lou Albano, who were the Sicilians, who were the biggest whatever name back in the day tag team. So we get up to this brand new facility. Excuse me. Kenny Passarello, if they research it online, he was a bodybuilder, and he became either Mr. Olympia or Mr. Universe or something. He was only a little guy, but he was in, and he was involved with Tony to run. You have to join the gym, and then Tony had the wrestling school in there. So after we got there and were instructed that we'd have to pay $3,000 to train to be a pro wrestler and join the gym. Well, here we are again, laid off. Now, at the time, I had a 66 Corvette convertible.
Ooh.
And I thought, well, I told my wife, 2 young kids, I said, "We're laid off yet collecting. What do we got to lose?" So I sold the Corvette.
Wow.
I took the money, and I went up and I paid Tony and I paid Passarello for the gym. Now, we had no money to stay anywhere. The first couple of nights I slept in the damn car, right? So here Seth Cohen's dad rented a apartment building, and me and Barbie and Lenny Mario only lived in Milford, so he was down the road. He had it okay. But our deal was that if we bought food and refreshments, we were okay. The father would cover everything else. And brother, let me tell you what, I learned a lesson. I thought I was in decent shape, and I was there. I think I was close to almost 300 when I got there.
Okay.
And the regimen, when we would get up in the morning, we'd go running in the morning for I don't know how many miles, come back. We'd eat breakfast. We'd go to the gym. We'd work out till noontime, go for lunch, then come back and go in the ring from noon till 5.
Whoa.
By the time I left there in 3 months, I think it was like we were supposed to be there about a year. In about 3 to 5 months, I was down to 240.
Wow.
I lost all, and I was, pretty well in condition. And Tony Altimore was the agent. So you know what the agents do? Mm-hmm. They would sign. They would go to all the shows that were locally in the area, and he would say, "Hey, Petruzzi, we're going to be in New Jersey. Oh my God, across the bridge from Pennsylvania." Anyway, he'd say, "We're about 5 to 15 miles away from your place. Tom Chapman is the referee. Come with him." Okay. Well, I only got my boots now at this point. So I get to this place in Jersey, and I come in with Tom. We sit at the bleachers. Now, again, this is something new to me because we've been training. And at the training center, we're bringing Sal Balomo comes in, Hogan comes in, some other guys come in. And Chief J comes up to me and says, "Come here, where you go? You got your stuff?" I said, "I only got my boots." He said, "Your first match." Oh, shit. So I go down in the dressing room, and all the big shots are in there. And Tony Atlas comes over to me and says, "Are you one of the new guys on the block?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "You don't have your stuff. Here's a pair of trunks." Okay, so now I got a pair of trunks and boots. So then Chief J comes over and he says, "Here's your opponent. You're going to work with him. B. Brian Blair from the Killer Bees, right?"
Okay.
He comes over and he says, "What do you know?" I said, "Well, we're trained by Al Tamor up at the school, so we know a lot." He goes, "We're going 20 minutes. Okay.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. First time in the damn ring, right? And at the end, you know the deal. It's time to go home. So he went over. It was all over. I went back outside. I thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get paid." Well, after the show's over, we're on our way home. I said to Tom, I said, "I didn't get paid." He said, "That was your initiation." That was my initiation. So that's how it got started. But while we were up at the training center, we trained Ted Arcidi. We trained Paul Roma. And a lot of the guys that went with us for TV taping up in Canada, Gino Carabella, Mancini was there for, oh my God, he was only a young kid. I don't even know if he was old enough to wrestle, but he got in there. So that's how it really started. And, I think back, we were lucky. We were very lucky that I had Tom Chapman. And if I would have not stopped that second time to talk to these people, who knows?
Right.
It's hard to say.
That's a crazy, crazy story.
It's true. And Sal Balomo, if it wasn't for Sal Balomo too, I was traveling with him too. And Nikolai Volkov, because back then I was 29 years old. I don't know how old Doug was when he got in. I was 29. I was old already.
Yeah.
And I had to support my family somehow. And even when I did tours, Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, Australia, I was overseas and I got called back to Bethlehem Steel. What do you do? I already had years in.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
So how do you figure that out? And then when I finally flew back home, you had what do you call that? A period of time where you had to report back. I was lucky to come back where I would have lost my, whatever I had invested.
Yeah.
And then son of a bitch, the goddamn TV show comes up with Hogan down in North Carolina, No Holds Barred, and they contact me to go down and be an extra in the movie. Well, we couldn't go because I was working back at the steel company. But thanks to Pat Patterson, we received quite a few checks. It was amazing. But that's how it started. And, if it wouldn't have been for that, I guess
when that was going on and you started, working for them and doing the TV shots and all. So when Bethlehem Steel called you back, were you done with the business for a while, or?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, because that was more of the livelihood.
Right.
And then at that point of time, I kind of got injured at Bethlehem Steel. I kind of lost some bones inside my one foot, so I was kind of sort of in limbo for a while. And my father at Wikipedia, he was dying of cancer. So I ended up two guys showed up at my doorstep here one night, and they wanted to train to be a pro wrestler. So these two guys who became the twin tackles, they became the twin tackles. I ended up training them, and then things happened with
How'd you get involved with Ty Gordon?
No, this was when I was with George Miller down at Colonial Buick GMC down in Palmer, and he started a wrestling league. And we were doing pretty good, doing a lot of benefit for handicap, drug and rehab centers, Hogarth Cray, the Special Olympics. All of a sudden, I get a call with Ron Shaw to go down to Tri-State Wrestling with Joel Goodhart. So we go
Oh,
down there.
okay.
We do a couple shots with Larry Winters was down there, DC Drake, and I thought, well, we know Drake from the NWL when me and Shaw were the Executioners. I'm jumping around now because I don't want to tell you all the spots we were in. All of a sudden, Joel is gone and Todd Gordon takes over. George Miller gets a call up in Palmerton from Todd and says, "Would you come down to ECW Extreme?" It was what, Eastern then.
Eastern, yeah.
We're going to go down there, and we'd like you to come down and check it out. So myself and George Miller go down there, and we meet Todd Gordon, and we're looking at this new promotion that he takes over from Goodhart, and he said about coming down there and working with him. And George already was getting out of the car business, and he was giving up the wrestling. We sold the ring then to somebody in Philadelphia. And I go down there with Ron Shaw. We were the Executioners for a couple of times.
Right.
And then he disappears. And that's
Ron
when
did.
Ron disappeared, which we didn't know it at the time, but he was hooked up with somebody else and did some tours overseas that he never told me until, honestly, just recently.
Really?
Yeah, because he has a podcast too now that he does. And he also
it's funny. We just because with this whole show that I'm doing now, I've reconnected with Goodhart and we've been talking a lot, and he's been looking for Ron. And we were doing a search and we came across it. Yeah, Ron's got this his website and podcast and all. Yeah.
And everybody wants to know about him and David Sammartino, but he just contacted me because I did a podcast for one of his friends, and he said that he didn't. That's why he left ECW to do this tour with this guy to make big money. And I can say this: he was making big money before Todd and ECW went crazy. Yeah, but then that's when we hooked that when Hunter Q came in, and then they mentioned Doug because Doug showed up one time with his buddy. I forget his name. Rich Dick. Yeah. Yeah, he showed up for the show.
You guys had never met before this whole thing.
No, never. Because before even with him, me and Ron Shaw, we went down to Crockett and we did shows with him with the New Breed. We were tag teaming against them.
Okay.
And that's before it was the WCW, I guess.
Right.
But then when we went to ECW, you were there. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. That was a new thing. That was a new group. That was a new entity.
Yeah, it was very, very new and fresh, and nobody knew what the hell we were doing.
No, that's how it all started.
Where was that? Michael J. Schmidt Sports Bar or something like that?
Yeah,
on 8th and Market.
Yeah,
Market Schmidt. Yeah, he was the baseball player.
Yeah. Michael what's it called? Michael Jacks was it called? I think
something Schmitz.
Yeah,
Michael J. Schmitz.
It was a cool little spot. Yeah, because Joel had ran there monthly, and then Todd took it over, and he was running there, and then they were shutting down, so they lost the spot.
Yeah, you mean God? You mean God, Gordon?
God, Todd is God.
God is God. If you don't believe me, ask him.
So, all right, so how do you explain how you guys end up meeting then? So because Doug had already went down to talk to Todd, and then AJ, you went, and then what's that say?
A guy arrested for what?
That was back in the day, brothers.
Is that you? Holy crap! Look at that head of hair.
I was 14.
Stop it.
I was 14. Yeah, I just found this accidentally. But anyhow, yeah, we
hooked up where? At the sports bar or
at the sports bar?
Brady Colleges?
No, you guys were together.
We were at the sports bar. We were with you guys.
Yeah, you guys were already working for Todd, and then me and my partner HD, the Hell Riders, came in, and you guys were already champs at that point.
Yeah, remember what was his name? Phil Livelsberger. Whatever happened to him? He was like a
Phil was
professor at a school. The bounty hunter.
The bounty hunter.
Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. Great
Yeah,
guy. I went on tour with him
Yeah.
in Hawaii and Guam. Great guy.
The first one of these interviews I did was Glenn Osborne, and Glenn said he thinks last he heard that Phil was like a school principal. still.
Yeah, he was like a professor.
Yeah,
That
he was.
sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart guy.
Yeah, but see,
How the
I
hell
don't
did he get
remember how the hell did we get together?
Where?
I don't remember.
See,
No,
now
we
I
got
How did we
thought.
hook up together with the
At Smith's Bar at Michael J. Smith's.
See, now this is the funny
with
thing
the
because,
option?
like I said to you guys earlier, like, I was this kid. I was like 22, 23 years old. So what I'm seeing around me, I honestly thought that AJ, you and Todd were like good friends. That was the feeling I got
were.
from just being
That's the feeling I
outsider.
got too.
I
mean,
thought
that's
they
how
were very
we- yeah.
old friends.
Well, we hit it off when.
You
Well,
ran the locker room for a long time.
Yeah.
well, George Miller was money, and Todd was money.
Okay.
So when we showed up down there, we all hit it up, especially since we had our own school up in PA here, up
okay.
in Palmerton, and we trained a couple of people in Palmerton. So
I
we
remember
trained a
going
couple
there.
of people, and because we were doing circuits and we were doing television. Actually, we had our own network up here, and we were doing commercials and spots and doing all this stuff. And Todd saw that too, and he figured that was a good thing to get because then he could work two different things. But after we went down there and George was bowing out of everything, then we kind of sort of, well, actually, when we first went there, Larry Winters was running the show.
Yeah, he was the
Yeah, he was.
For Goodhart.
Yeah.
But then when I got there with Miller, it seems like it shifted because then all of a sudden it seemed like with my experience with Vince and Crockett and I don't know, it just seemed like I took over for some reason, making everybody more or less in tune and what was going on, because back then it wasn't crazy yelling and screaming and carry on. I wish I would have been there when New Jack was there.
We'll get into that.
He wouldn't have made it.
I just saw a tape here with him in Illinois jumping off the balcony.
Yeah.
Onto somebody on the table. Like, oh my God, if that ain't a lawsuit, nothing is. But
hey, I know this is off the topic. But whatever happened to JT?
JT, I'm trying to track down.
Man, what a worker.
Yes.
We never worked with him, but man, could he work.
Well, last anybody's heard is, he actually ended up moving to Virginia and got married. And supposedly, I guess, like, he just doesn't want to be involved in wrestling no more. His wife doesn't want him involved. Just wants him to be like, because he got pretty banged up. He had so many concussions.
It was doing silly stuff.
Yeah. So he's like, I was given a few numbers to reach out to him, and I reached out a few numbers and got no response. So I don't know if he's just ignoring or.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny. The guy that I think, in my perception, that replaced his kind of funky, jumping off balconies and doing this and doing that. And I mean, he gave it all every match would probably be Sabu. And Sabu, obviously he came to the ECW. And that dude was just, I mean, I didn't know whether to talk to him or what, but that dude was crazy,
The funny thing is, he actually debuted for Goodhart and TWA because he was the Sheik's nephew. And I was in wrestling school at the time, and they came in to do it was the big Sheik and Abby match. And there was a battle royal on the show. And I remember I was in the stands watching, and all of a sudden I see this guy who I never knew or seen before comes running in and literally like did this flying somersault in the ring. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And they were like, this is Sabu. And then, fast forward 4 years later, it's like, oh my God, that's the guy that was flipping in the ring.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He could work. He did
Oh,
some
yeah.
serious stunts. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
But he
All
kind
right,
of took the
Dudley.
place. Yeah.
All right, Dudley, what's going on here with this ECW thing coming up here? I see a lot of shit on the internet. I see the pit bulls on here coming up, and
Half of the pit bulls.
in the next month here, I said, and I responded online and said I didn't get the memo.
All right, we'll get into all that. We'll get into all that. I want to talk more about you guys. All right, so you guys, you don't even know each other, and then you guys come together. But how did it become the Super Destroyers? I mean, you said you and Ron you guys were the Executioners. Why did you decide on the Super Destroyers?
I think Hunter came up with that, didn't he, Doug?
I think so. Hunter Q.
Well, how did Hunter Q come into the mix?
Well, because there was the Super Destroyers down south, the Irwins.
Yeah.
Right.
Mike and Bill. Yeah. Or Bill something.
Instead of going that, they said we'll do the ECW Super Destroyers.
Oh.
So evidently and then we were supposed to be bad heels right from the get-go, but
right.
We ended up as baby heels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
They kind of, because they kind of sort of liked us. But then again, if you remember, we didn't talk either.
No. You had Hunter.
Hunter was our mouthpiece, yeah. And boy, could he mouthpiece. He was the best.
And he was another one again who came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden was like, "Who's this guy?" But he's good.
Yeah.
Kmart suit took over.
Kmart suit, yeah. That was the funny chant every show. Kmart suit.
He got a lot of heat. We loved it. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, once this happened, it took off. I mean, we were in the ring with you guys. We were in there with Hotbody. We were in there with Chris Candido, Tony Stetson, Glenn Osborne,
Tony,
like Doug said in the beginning there with we were in there with, and again, as yourself, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and the ECW became the third biggest entity in the world.
Okay, so here's the funny thing about you, AJ. Speaking of, we didn't know what we were doing. The one thing that I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember you guys talking this match out, and I remember the match happening and the finish, and it was like, this is the craziest, wildest finish. And people were still talking about it 30 years later. And I think to myself, who would have thought, there was probably 150 people there to see it. I think it was the Aztec Club outside, you and Snooker singles.
My God.
When Snooker pinned you in the pool, in the water.
Oh, that was a great match.
I want that tape. Where is it?
I didn't even work that night. I watched that match, and that was one hell of a match.
You didn't work that show?
I don't think I did. I worked one show, and then he and then Superfly did a show one afternoon, and they were all over the club.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the club, weren't you, Tony?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were all over the place.
Oh, it was crazy.
That.
I loved it.
We went up the balcony up top there, and
Then you went outside. You guys were outside.
I think he's right.
I got pinned underwater.
Yes.
Because I took my boots off. I told Hunter, I'm not getting these $400 boots wet.
Oh my gosh.
That's when I brought in the Samoan. The
one
Samoan.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
was it Lloyd?
Lloyd?
No. Lloyd.
No, I don't think so. Was it Lloyd?
No, maybe it was. I can't remember.
That's who I trained with. I trained with Lloyd and Alpha and Alex.
I brought in Caruso.
Okay, Gino Caruso. Yeah.
Too many.
How about did you bring in at the time he was Damian Stone? Did you bring him in as well?
don't know the name. I brought Belomo in.
Okay.
What a
Okay.
great guy. What a great guy.
Damian Stone.
Damian Stone came in. I think he was working with Caruso's federation in North Jersey. Damian Stone and the Kodiak Bear.
I
They had-
remember
I
him.
remember Kodiak. Yeah,
I remember those
big,
guys.
heavy
And
guy.
Yeah, Damian Stone ended up becoming Nunzio from the Full Blooded Italians.
Get the hell out.
Wow.
How about that?
Good for
Get
him.
out of here.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
or no. He was Little Guido. I'm sorry, Little Guido.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's so funny. So okay,
what-
so what did you guys think though of, like you said, like we didn't know what we were doing, but what did you guys think of like ECW, those early days, and we were trying to get TV? Like, did you think it was going to turn into something, or?
Well,
the way the guy that
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, you're the one with all the experience. I mean, I'm used to independent shows and stuff like that, and all the promises, and
Well, you could see
you hear,
when
you
the
take
town-
this for that, blah blah blah.
when the town, after we were there for a short time, and all of a sudden the talent started coming in. You saw Don Morocco,
Mhm.
Ivan Koloff,
Yeah.
Nikolai
JYD,
Volkov.
Nightheart, all those guys were coming in.
Then you see Stone Cold Steve Austin coming in.
Yeah.
And, Mick Foley coming in. Then you knew something's going to happen.
Right.
And all this time,
Orndorff was there. Orndorff was in there. Who else was in there?
Malenko. All them guys, when we left, Malenko and his partner and
Right.
Eddie Gilbert. Well, we could talk about those guys, but we're not going to touch too much on how those guys really ruined. But I still think
Shane Douglas was there.
They were working with Vince. I think they were working with Vince there at the end, because when Paulie come in, he had to be working with Vince from the beginning. I'm sorry,
he had a different agenda altogether.
Well, when he brought Al Snow in there and CM Punk, that was all. I don't know. I mean, we could see the writing on the wall when he brought us in for that meeting. Were you there? Said, "Oh, you guys were here from the beginning, and we're going to take care of you."
That's it.
Who is this? Paul?
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into that, let me backtrack just a little bit, because I want to talk about Eddie Gilbert.
Eddie
Gilbert. Oh boy. Now,
there we go.
So, when we got the TV deal with Sports Channel, the announcements made to us that Eddie Gilbert's the new booker. What was your initial impressions? Were you excited about that? Were you happy this was going to be happening? Did you think it was going to be a big, good thing for us?
Eddie was okay.
Go ahead, Doug.
I thought.
Oh boy.
What's that?
Go ahead, Doug.
No, I thought Eddie would be okay, but obviously he's going to bring in his boys. But the decline for at least us and some of the other talent was Paulie. That's what killed us. That's what killed us.
When Eddie Gilbert brought his brother in, the Dark Patriot, that was the end of us.
He brought in Doug Gilbert. Yeah. Who was Doug?
I didn't even think of that. Do you think it was because like Glenn Osborne? Glenn said he felt, or he was, he heard rumblings that he kind of got pushed out and was buried because he had thrown fire, and Eddie was the only one that was allowed to throw fire, so they couldn't have Glenn throwing fire and be there. So
Glenn was a great guy. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I remember when they did the trash cans and he got his head split open.
Oh.
One night from the seam of a trash can or whatever. He had to have a bunch of stitches, but man, he was such a great dude.
Yeah.
Great dude. He still is, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you think, now that I'm thinking this, do you think Eddie felt because Doug's there and he's under a hood that you guys can't be there?
That's what I felt.
Possibly. Yeah, I agree.
That's what I felt. Because then
they wanted to do away with most of the hoods. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when we got demasked. We got demasked by what was it? soon after that. That was Paul E that demasked us, and then he tried to give me a gimmick like some kind of, I don't know, lumberjack, I guess.
Lumberjack.
But yeah,
Were you
they
there?
were still giving you a push as a super destroyer, though.
Well, they did, but you could see the writing on the wall.
Okay, well, how about when they took Hunter Q away from you guys? Were you guys on board with that idea, or do you think that like things are going to start going wrong now?
Oh, we knew it was going wrong when he came up with the suicide blondes. We knew that was not good.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was that was Eddie or Paul?
That was Paul, wasn't it? Or was that Eddie?
That was Paul. No, that was Paul.
Yeah.
Paul was the one that ruined. He ruined it all.
He killed
and
the
I've
Super
known
Ds.
Paul from WWF. When we were doing tour, when I was first starting with WWF, he was a manager for the Samoans, and when we would do shows up in New England states, Paulie was our super. And I knew Paul from way back, and he just, when he comes in, it's time to leave.
Whoa. So yeah, you guys did the title exchange back with the Suicide Blondes and all. Then they pitted you guys against each other for the mask match or whatever.
Yeah, mask versus mask.
Yeah.
What did you guys?
There was no sense to that.
Right. I was gonna say, did you guys like just think to yourself, all right, we're buried, we're done. Like, what do we do? Do we leave or?
Pretty much.
Well, it was over.
Okay.
He left. Dougie, you left then, right?
I left shortly thereafter. Yeah.
Yeah, and they promised me a run because then I was doing an interview with Shane Douglas and Sherry Martel.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, that we're getting in a tag match with jobbers and they're getting pinned, but I'm not doing nothing. It's time to leave.
Wow.
Time to leave.
So Doug, you left then on your own.
Yeah, I powdered out. I was done.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I kind of knew. And back then I was getting the phone calls from Jody Hamilton, and I was going to do. I did some house shows.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny, brother. It's when you get these phone calls, we want you to do this. You're jobbing without the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, you stop taking the calls. I mean, I worked with what was that guy, Max Payne, and
okay.
What was that? What was that one dude? Oh shoot, can't think of his name. In the Baltimore arena, I can't think of his name. They gave him the strap that night, and of course, that's the night I did a job for him. And then at that point in time, I knew I was either going to keep going with it or I wasn't.
Right.
And I stopped going because at that point in time, kind of like, AJ, I had to work, and I was a car salesman.
Right.
And on the weekends I was breaking tables and chairs and stuff like that on Friday and Saturday nights, traveling with, oh my gosh, the Iron Sheik. I can tell you some stories. It was crazy.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but after a while, when you stop telling them, "Hey, I can't make it. I can't make it. I can't make it," they stop calling you.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of a blessing because at that point in time, I had, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, 2-year-old daughter, and one time it's kind of funny. I don't know. I guess I'm blessed in a lot of ways, but I remember even as a super destroyer wearing a hood, that I had kids come up to me at these shows wanting my autograph, and I see them with their father, and they're going up, get his autograph, and we're signing pictures and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, how selfish I am when my kids are home with their mother or whatever, and they're at home, and here I am on a Friday, Saturday night after working all week, and I'm signing autographs to these young children that don't know me from Adam, and my children are home alone. So I kind of had a reality check that, I may have the size. I don't really have all the talent. I don't have the gimmick, but I have the family. I have the children. What's more important? So I made a decision. That's when I stopped taking shows.
Did you sour on the business at all, or did you just you were just over
That's
it.
just powdered out. No, it wasn't sour. I was just kind of powdered out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then I continue to do it, here and there and stuff. People call you and you go do a show or two. But I just kind of powdered out because I was right there. When you're at a point in life that either you go this way or that way,
Right.
you could make it, or you should go with something that's more, I don't know. It's that,
Stable.
yeah.
Hmm.
And you're not sure. And it was like, I went that way. So now at this point in my life, I mean, I've grown up in the car business
Sure.
where I'm a general manager at a dealership. And I'm able to use, the things that, I mean, even along the way, even the things I've learned as a professional wrestler, I've learned to be able to, sell the deal, sell and make customers feel great about themselves through the process. So I've been able to take some of the theatrics and all the positive into a career that has done well for me. So I'm blessed, brother.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I may not have the fame and fortune, but man, I'm more than blessed in a lot of ways.
I
Yeah,
had
but
your money, I'd burn mine.
What's that?
If I had your money, I'd burn mine.
If I had your hand, I'd cash mine in.
So, all right. So,
Amazing.
AJ, you end up
know what?
you're there for
But-
another minute.
But you know what? Seriously, what he just said, it happened to me too. Because after that nonsense with ECW, I went, became a counselor for troubled, homeless, runaway kids down in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for 15 years.
Wow.
And ironically, when I first got there, I think it was 2004 or 5. They knew who I was, and I volunteered to bring a wrestling show in for money for the place, so they could have money for their organization. I was told they couldn't do it because of the violence. A couple of years go by, and the director, all of a sudden, I see the director on TV with getting pictures with Cena and some of the other people, and I said to her at one of the meetings, "What's going on here? You told me this was no good." Well, now my sister is a lawyer for Vince McMahon. So then, in the meantime, after this is going on, somebody out in Maryland, I get a call from, and I start going out there working for this gentleman. And in the middle of all of this, I win a couple of the belts. I call Mr. Doug up and say it's time to come back. So we go back to wrestle in Maryland, and we take the straps. I'll let him tell you who it is.
Gilbert. Who was the other dude? I love the guy.
No, your buddy Rambo.
Oh, Rambo.
John
guy.
Rambo?
Yeah.
We
Rambo.
went back there and we took care of that place. We just destroyed it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It was ECW all over again.
Yeah.
Christ, I held together. We had the tag team belts. I had the TV belt. I had the heavyweight belt all at one time. I mean, it was crazy because, we were starved. Actually, I don't care what he says. After being out for a period of time, all of a sudden you're thrown back in and you're starved. Now you want it all, but then it wears off again.
You're right. We had some
You
fun.
didn't want to come back. He did not want to come back. He kept, I remember well.
You do?
I do.
Oh,
Especially
shoot.
when my cousin comes to your house on the motorcycle and bugged you.
Which one?
Gabe.
Oh, my gosh. I love Gabe.
Gabe's
a
awesome.
great guy. I love Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe's a good dude.
Yeah.
That's funny. So so when you guys are both out of ECW, you guys didn't go do any indies together or nothing like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did a bunch of indies together.
Okay.
Well, with Rambo and a bunch of other people. We even ran a show in Martinsburg, West Virginia once or twice ourselves. And no, we continued, but really the Super Destroyers, I don't know. I mean, what's his name kind of killed it. He just kind of killed it. I didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth, just left it, we had a run. This is my perception. We had a run. I mean, AJ has has a lot different, in depth, experience and successes and stuff like that with me. I was grateful that he saw in me enough to, he took my size, he took what abilities I had and everything, and the gimmick, and put me under the hood. I basically replaced Ron Shaw. So I was at the right place at the right time. And Ron Shaw could work circles around me. I mean, those two together were poetry in motion. Me, I was just, a big guy, did all the power moves, and I just kind of took the place of Ron Shaw. Ron Shaw was really, I mean, AJ will tell you, he was getting the push with Vince and everything else. He just kind of he did his power. So
yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, he had his choice.
It's funny when I go back and I'm watching these videos now, especially you, AJ. I'm like, AJ, that son of a bitch was so light on his feet, and like I'm blown away as I watch it now, and I can truly see and appreciate everything a lot more.
The guy could still do a flip.
We do.
The guy does a flip. He does a flip off the rope. I mean, we either power bomb or power slam the guy in the middle of the ring, position the guy right. Tony, he comes off the rope, boom, does a flip, does the pin, we take it home. We're done. I loved it.
That's
I guess it's all from training back in the day, right?
Right. Were you when ECW was blowing up and everything? Were you guys like? Doesn't sound like Doug, you really cared too much, but AJ, were you like pissed off or anything, or?
I did care. I did care.
Did you care?
I really did. It was disappointing because I thought we were going to get carried along. I mean, we beat, Chris Candido. We beat, oh shucks, what was his name? The Suicide Blondes.
Johnny Hotbody.
Yeah, Johnny Hotbody. I mean, Tony and him had their differences, not only in the ring, but in the locker room. Remember that, Tony? Oh my God. But Johnny Hotbody, he was a pleasure to work with. But no, I was disappointed that, obviously Paul E did his thing with us, and he killed it. He killed it. I had to go back to work. I had to sell cars, parts, and service to make things happen. You know what I mean?
Did you ever talk to Todd about anything, AJ, afterwards, or?
Not really. I mean, he's God now, so I don't know if we have to get on the list. But, there's a lot of things that Dougie, I don't know if he doesn't want to say it or doesn't remember, but after we did that stint with ECW, we had some tapes made up as a promo tape with Hunter Q from ECW matches that we did. And Vince and Chief and the boys were at Stabler Arena down here many years ago. And I called the Chief and I said, I'm coming down there to see you guys. And Yokozuna was the champ at that time, and a lot of the guys in that era, they were bringing them up from South. He said, and I told him, I have a tape for you to see. If you guys are interested in bringing me and Doug in as a tag team. So he went into the back and he plugged the tape in it, and he looked at the tape. And I don't know if Doug remembers, but he says to me, we're doing taping in Ohio next week. You and your partner be there.
Oh.
I could be there, but he couldn't because he had to work.
Oh.
So that would have been probably our dark match to see as the Super Destroyers.
Right.
Now, whether they would have kept it or changed our name, we don't know, because you know what they do.
Yeah, we had some shots, but there was at that point in time, there was Demolition. There was
not yet. No, there was. They just brought Jeff Jarrett up from down south. Because I sat there in the dressing room, and I wasn't there in a while. And when Rodney saw me, Yokozuna, and Doink the Clown just came in, they brought in the second one, Ray Apollo, who was Offa's buddy.
Right.
I met Ray with Offa years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Offa's not doing so well right now, but I heard.
He's going through some health issues, Yeah,
Offa trained me. Offa and Lloyd, his son, trained me.
Wow.
I've seen that online.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that moment when Lloyd come up to me, because I used to work with him when he was breaking in up in the New England States. He saw me and said, AJ, are you back? And he gets up and everybody's watching this, and he's over there hugging, squeezing the life out of me. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm out of here before I'm even in here. But that's when the chief come over and he said, come on, we're going to the trailer. And he looked at the tape and he watched it. And that was our highlight. That one, I don't know if you still have it, but I got a couple of copies yet with us doing the flip and throwing off the top rope and everything. And Chief said, be there next week, Columbus,
I couldn't
Ohio.
make it. I remember that.
Nope.
I could not make it. Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe. But then again, is it a guarantee? We don't know. And he can't lose a job where he's making, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We know if you're not born into the family, you're not there.
Yeah, that's true.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been a crazy.
I can't complain. I do. No, wait, Dudley. There's one thing I want to bitch about. The originals. I hate that. When these guys today say, we're the originals, where the hell were they in the beginning when we were there?
That's why I call myself the original. I call myself the original ECW original. Because I was there for both stints.
Absolutely.
But I feel the same way. I don't understand, like, when they started, calling themselves the ECW originals, I guess 20 years ago, I would say to myself, like, no, you're not. Like,
no.
And no disrespect to them, but you guys weren't there in 93. Those were the originals.
No, exactly. Whatever happened to is Sandman still going? What's he doing?
It's funny, actually. Todd texted me the other night. Him and Hack were judging Stripper of the Year contest at, I think, Delilah's in Philly.
Gordon hasn't changed.
Nah. He's still. I haven't read the book. I have not read the book.
Are you serious?
I have. Did you read the book? Did you read the book?
I have not. I refuse to buy it.
See, I had Jay, when I reconnected with Jay Sully read it, and he hasn't texted me in the last few days about it, but for about 2 weeks straight was texting me every day. Please read the book. I need to discuss this with somebody.
Jay's a good dude. He's a good dude.
I said that to Todd, and Todd put the book over. He's like, it's a really good book. You got to read it.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He probably signed it for you too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Does he still run that pawn thing or whatever?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he seems to be doing good.
What happened to Arsini?
Todd, tell him to send me a book and I'll sign it for him.
Whatever happened with those guys that
I'll sign it for him.
Wait, which guys?
What was their names? They had a skating rink.
Oh, Bob and Lex.
Yes.
Artis.
Oh my God.
I just talked to Bob last night, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're doing great.
Them.
They're doing great. Yeah.
They were great people back in the day.
So what's
we had
these
so much
questions
fun
that you have that are diabolical?
I got no diabolical questions.
No.
I let the diabolical answers come out as I asked my basic questions, and then I'm sure. Look, I don't want to poke the bear, but you like you said, Tone, you weren't the happiest when things started to go south and when you guys were cut out. You saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah. No, they should have did it more. They should have did it more professionally instead of
just killing.
Well, that's what they're used to backstage.
Yeah.
Well, like they did to Belomo when Belomo got hurt there. You were there at that time.
Okay, let me ask you about Stahl. How about when they made Sal like a third member of the Super D's? Were you guys happy with that?
That was short. But we love Sal. That was a short little stint. But we did love Sal.
We don't know what the purpose of that was.
No.
Because it was like the comic relief, eating the pizza, taking the mask and putting, and when you look at some of the films, I don't know.
Right.
But when Rebel hit him with the chair and broke his jaw and busted his eardrum, and I remember.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. I was already gone at that point.
You were?
Yeah.
Well, he went in to talk with Todd and Paul and said, all I need is 6 more matches and I can get my jaw fixed and my hair. He lost his hearing.
Whoa.
Next week he was let go. And that's
crazy.
There's a lot of things that were diabolical that were done that shouldn't have been done that way. But
no.
Again, well, if you read some of that stuff online about when Paulie come in, he wanted 51% or something, and Todd wouldn't give it. But then the decisions were being made already that were in progress. I was reading some of the stuff on there how Paulie was trying to get control of that in the worst way early on, and Todd was pretty good holding off. But something had to sway somewhere. Now, you might know with your interviews, maybe Todd said something, but somehow Paulie got everything.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I got to read the book. Now, I know, early on, Paul did get that 51%, I think, but then eventually Todd walked away. And at that point, I was even gone because what happened was with the Hell Riders, when Eddie came in, we did the first 2 sets of tapings at Cabrini, and then we were not booked anymore. And then I guess it was about a year and a half later, they started the Dudley gimmick, and I was very hurt because I was helping Todd and them a lot behind the scenes with promotions and stuff out on the streets, and so I was really very angry and sour. And I didn't even watch ECW no more, nothing. I didn't want to know nothing about it. I was so pissed off. And I fell upon it one day, and I saw the angle was Sandman and Tommy Cairo. And I was like, oh, it sucked me in. I was like, this is a hot angle. And I got sucked into watching it. And then a short time after, I saw the Dudley gimmick come in, and I was like, holy shit, I look like a Dudley. And a week later, Steve Richards, who I went through wrestling school with, he called me up and said, hey, we got this new gimmick. I think it would be perfect for you. Are you interested? I'm like, absolutely. And he said, come down and meet Paul. I'll introduce you. And that's how I got back in. But they never – I went back in as just part of the sideshow. They never wanted me to work matches. They just wanted me to be at ringside, take chair shots, go through tables, take finishers, and that's it.
What year?
95, 96.
Wow.
Were you there when I brought my cousin in?
Gene?
Were you there when I brought him down for?
Who was your cousin?
Snitsky.
No.
I brought him down alone down in Philadelphia, and then I brought
what
him
year
and his
was
partner.
That?
About 95, 96, wasn't it?
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, I took him to Stabler Arena for a tryout, and Tommy Dreamer was in charge at that time.
Okay, so well, here's another thing. So when I was brought back, I started coming to the shows, and they just, I started coming to all the shows. Well, they weren't paying me. So at the end of the shows, I'm like not getting paid, and I'm like, well, this is kind of crazy. Even like, $40, $50, just, here's gas money and a Happy Meal. I wasn't getting nothing. So when they started doing like Stabler Arena or New York or North Jersey, I'm like, I'm not going to take off my job and lose money on Friday and Saturday nights to go travel and lose money. I got bills to pay. So I only did the local shows. I did Philadelphia area shows, South Jersey, Delaware. I stuck very local. And that's why I hung out for about a year and a half. And I was there before Bubba. I was there before Devon. But then when they brought Little Spike in, and his first night, he's getting a match, I was pissed. I was like, this is fucked. I totally get it. I'm done. And I hung out for about another month, and I just said, you know what? I'm over it. And I, as Doug said, I took a powder, and I walked away.
Well,
and then I started doing the indies. I was getting bookings, on the indies as Chubby Dudley, and this is I'm dying to know this answer, and I hope to actually talk with him one day, and I get an answer. But I was delivering pizzas at a local pizza shop, and Taz calls me at the pizza shop. I don't know how he knew where I worked or got the number, but called and threatened me that if I don't stop doing the gimmick, he's going to come to a show. And his exact words was, "I'm going to come to a show and stretch your ass."
Wow.
And I was like, okay. Like, I'm thinking to myself, he's going to come and like put me in a hold? Is he going to come and suplex me in the parking lot? What's he going to do? Like,
right.
So, yeah. I stopped doing the Dudley gimmick for about 5 years after that. And
that was your gig. That was your gimmick.
Yeah.
Wow. I never related. I mean, maybe I did back then, that they took the Dudley from you. Honest to God.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. That's crazy.
So
that's the business.
Yeah, exactly. It's, and again, I walked away and I was very angry and bitter at ECW for about a year and a half. But then, like, I got invited to a friend's house where he was doing a pay-per-view party to see their first pay-per-view. And I watched it and I was like, this is great stuff. This is really great. And I couldn't deny it. And I'm like, and I became a fan of them. And there's a lot of friends there and I was supporting them. So.
Well, don't feel so bad. I mean, I could have made millions as the big boss man, and it didn't happen.
Come on.
He was the original. You never saw those pictures?
No.
It's the original.
Up there when I worked as a prison guard in Carbon County here, Vince sent the boys up and got pictures of me with the PR-24, the badge. I was a corrections officer.
No way.
Yeah, when I worked with them, then they sent me overseas and brought Bubba Rogers up and gave it to him.
Oh, shit.
I still got the sealed letters from George Scott, who was the big shot at the time with Vince.
Right.
Yeah, I still got them here, one copy, and I took the other copies up there.
Did you ever say to anybody, like, what the hell?
Well, yeah, to George Steele's nephew, Mark Sadachek, who we did the mask thing with the Fracture Fransburg that you don't know about either.
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, the old fracture.
That's another episode.
The Bob Hitman, I love it.
Oh jeez.
Fracture Fransburg. Look that up.
By the way, did you guys see my T-shirt?
Kayfabe.
Made in Japan.
China.
Made in China.
Made in the USA, baby. Dougie Flex, Doug Yazinski. He's taking all the old workers and stuff like that, the old boys, and making these nostalgic like T-shirts, and I love it.
That's awesome.
Well, Ron Shaw and Larry Winters trained that guy.
Yazinski, Dougie Flex.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
They were my original trainers.
Were they?
Yeah. I started at Goodhart's, and I was training there, and then Ron left. I think because of his job. He had a
bus driver or something.
Yeah, he was a bus driver. So
he told everybody where to get off.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of episodes down the road to do. I'm sure he does too. All the commercials they did out in Hollywood with Vince. The what were they, LJN dolls in the beginning, the first couple? We did that with the Sheik and Slaughter and Andre, and Dave Barbie was in on that too.
Wow.
How was Andre?
I remember seeing some of those videos. Yeah, they're on YouTube.
Andre was very quiet.
Huh.
Nobody messed with Andre.
I'm sure.
When he came to TV taping and sat down to his professional table, and the 5 gallons of wine was sitting there and the cases of beer, they called Hogan would come over. Hi, boss. How are you? He was very well respected.
No doubt.
How about the one and only Pat Patterson? Any issues with him?
Only a couple of the jobbers that he used to chase around the bathroom.
Right.
I won't mention names, but
let's leave you out of this.
Some of the Italian guys he was afraid of. They
He
carried
should have
stilettos.
been. He should have been.
You know what a stiletto is?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's what the Italians carried, a stiletto.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That is
But
so
no,
funny.
you know, a lot of the guys back in the early days there, it was a lot different. Like Dougie, I don't know when he started. Again, I started in '84. We
Right.
started training in '83, and it was a different. When you walked in the dressing room, you could hear a pin drop.
Oh
You
my gosh,
couldn't
it was different back then. Yeah.
Everybody had their, like the Undertaker would have his earphones on, and he would be in there listening, and everybody.
It was
If you
quiet.
were going to
It was quiet. I remember
do a
going
match,
into
you'd
the
be in a different part of the room.
Yeah. I remember going into the NBA. I remember Leon, what was it, Van Vader? I was putting a knee brace on
Yeah,
one time.
Leon White.
I was getting ready. Huh?
Leon White.
Yeah. I was putting a knee brace on one time. He looked at me and he said, "Hey kid," he said, "why are you putting that knee brace on?" He said, "I've had 9 knee surgeries. I don't wear a brace." I looked at him and I looked up at him. He's a big dude. And I said,
Yeah.
"I've had 3. Hopefully I won't have to have 9 if I wear this brace." And he said, "Smart ass." He kept going. I was like, "I'm glad I'm not jobbing for you tonight, brother." Yeah. Good times.
Things were different.
Good
Things were
times.
way
But you
different.
respected everybody.
Yeah.
You
Oh
did.
yeah.
I mean, even Ric
When
Flair
we-
in the locker room was a cool cucumber. I mean, he was a good dude.
Yeah, but when we went down south, me and Ron Shaw went down south to Crockett. They hated us.
Really?
They hated the Northern. Gary Juster was the booker then when he left up north here. And we had a first couple of shows in Waldorf, Maryland, and somewhere else down there. And we walked in the dressing room, but it felt like most of the guys were from up here that went back down there. I can't think of some of the guys there because we walked in the dressing room, me and Ron. They said, "What the hell are you guys doing down here?" Well, they booked us down there because we left Vince, because after going on tour, you had no job when you came back from overseas. And
Right.
Sweet Hansen, he was sitting in there because he just left Vince. And he would tell us some crazy stories. But he'd say, "You got to watch yourself down here in the southern parts because they're a different breed," which they are. I mean, they're different. So the first night that me and Ron got paid, we looked at our check from down Crockett Productions. It was like $80. And Ron goes to the guy, "What the guy's paying?" He goes, "What the hell is this?" He said, "Well, you had to pay for a license. That was $10. And then there was a $10 doctor fee." He said, "What are you, insane? We just drove 4 hours or 5 hours, rented a car to get here." So they booked this one more show, and I forget another part of, and Larry Winters came with us that time, and it was the same thing. And they said that no way. And then when I took my students all the way down to the Charlotte, or what was it? Ted Turner, WCW, when I went down there to try and get them in down there, we couldn't even get the hell in. Couldn't even get in. After we made contacts and had contacts, Jody Hamilton was at the training camp. And at the time, Goldberg was in there. And we couldn't get in. He said to me, he goes, "We don't take football players. They're pussies." Okay.
That was their gimmick.
That's hysterical. That is hysterical.
Rob was a big dude. How big was Rob?
6'9" and a 6'8", and we don't take them.
Let's see. Here's a question. Super Destroyers, can you talk about the ECW versus WWA card from '93? I wasn't there, but it looked great. Was that the convention that Todd ran with Dennis?
Doug, was that when we took their belts too?
Who was it?
The WWA ECW versus WWA show?
I thought it was the NWA.
That. We did take their belts. Yeah.
That wasn't them though. That was
It wasn't with those guys, but we took the belts.
That was the NWA, wasn't it?
It was the NWA out of Maryland, wasn't it?
I don't remember WWA. But then we took so many belts. So I don't know. I can't recall.
I think it was
Can
Barry. It was Barry and
there it is.
Gilbert.
Lords
There
of
it
Dark,
is.
Dwayne Gill and Barry Hardy.
Love those guys, especially
Yeah.
Barry. I haven't talked to Gilbert in a long time, but Barry's a great guy living in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Can you see that, Doug? They were the tag team champs for Larry Sharp.
Larry Sharp.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did
You
you
guys
guys
worked in the Indies as a team after you. Where's these questions coming from?
From people watching.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we did. We did work on as in the independents. Yes.
We just did last year in West Virginia.
Yeah. When's okay? So I saw you guys were like doing some shots here and there. Are you guys still looking to take bookings?
I am.
You are.
Hey, he can still do flips. I'll set him up. He can do the flips. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. As long as it's not late at night, we'll do it.
Super Destroyers versus Hell Riders match. Jay and Stevie called EZ HD and HD EZ every time. Never got the names right, which is hilarious.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right.
Like I said, I'm working on this thing right here and now, trying to figure it out. We have a couple other flyers out there. I did send the ECW guys with their upcoming, what do they call that, reunion stuff. And I said, I didn't get the message yet. If we were the guys that helped start it, who are you? Maybe I'm offending them. We'll even get in with rookies that are supposedly good. But
what is that other question? We got another question.
AJ, what was it like working for the WWF?
Overwhelming. Standing in Madison Square Garden in front of 60,000 people was just mind-blowing. And the money was good.
Mm.
And the tours. And being able to tour all over the world and not being, no offense, but not joining this military, I didn't have to.
There you go. AJ, since you're from Jim Thorpe, when the ECW was running up at Flagstaff, did you go to any of those shows?
I did, and I have pictures of myself as a manager for my cousin and his partner as the Twin Tackles.
Really?
I have pictures and photographs from them back then when ECW was up there. Oh my God, I can't even remember what years they were. And that was before they trashed the place and was never invited back. Not my guys, but ECW guys.
What was Vince McMahon like in person?
I didn't have much interaction with him when I was. I've worked there a few times. I mean, I saw the guy. He was a big dude. He was bigger than what I thought he would be, but I never really had any conversations. I'm sure AJ did.
Well, not really a lot of not a contact a lot with him, but his wife. My contracts were signed Linda McMahon. But a lot of times, the only time that I really had a lot of conversation is when he sent Dave Barbie to Canada, and I just left WCW with Ron and came back to see a show in Hershey Park. And I talked to Vince, and he said, "Oh, you're back." I said, "Yeah. Are we ready to get back to work?" He said, "Well, the roster's full," and that was it.
Wow. Okay.
Man, they got a lot of stuff going on now, don't they?
Now that AJ mentioned Ron Shaw, he did get a victory over David Sammartino at the Spectrum.
Absolutely. All over the internet.
Yeah, Michael Schmidt Sports Bar.
There it is, Doug.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm here, Cuz and Doug. Gabe Driver. There's your cousin Gabe.
That's our boy. That's our boy, Gabe. Love you, Gabe. Keep playing that tune, man.
AJ's last match in WWF was on September 11th, 1986 in Launceston, Australia. Look at that. Isn't that crazy how people know this stuff?
Launceston.
Wow. Launceston. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we did a tour over there. We did all of them. We did Perth, Adelaide, Launceston, Tasmania. We did the whole tour.
That's wild. JT, we were meant to talking about JT. That's right. He worked at Todd's pawn shop for years.
Did he really?
He did.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, when I used to go visit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yep.
Great dude. Great dude.
Finnegan did the count. That's right. And referee John Finnegan did the count in the pool at the Aztec Club.
Where's the tape?
Wow. Where's the tape?
Does anybody have a tape of that? Was it filmed? I don't even know.
It was filmed,
It
and
had to have been filmed.
I thought Ortiz had a copy.
Oh, I'll have to find out. I'll have to ask.
But there was a company that was doing the tapings back then, and they had all the rights for it.
That was down by the water.
That was in the water.
Literally. Let's see.
We were the match of the month that time too. It was.
Yeah.
Todd said that one of the early ECW didn't draw, and JT wouldn't take Todd's check. Todd hired him for the pawn shop because he could trust him. Interesting.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I believe that.
I believe that.
How does he know this? How does he know that?
I wonder if did Todd put it in his book. I wonder.
Maybe.
Oh, well, ask him. Are the Super Ds in the book?
You guys got to be.
Come on,
got to talk
man.
about you guys. Let me see. Little Guido showed at TNA at the arena. The other night, rechristening a new full-blooded Italian. Interesting. So TNA ran this past weekend, Friday and Saturday night, doing tapings at the arena, and they're saying, this is Tom Mishnick. Little Guido showed up at TNA at the arena.
Oh.
And started a new full-blooded Italians. Very interesting.
Wow.
Wonder how old he is now.
Huh. Let's see what this is. October 16th, 93 and October 22nd, 93 were the last matches Super D's had in ECW.
That's a fact. That's about that. Right. Yeah.
Remember those big monsters they brought in? Those big guys, they must have been 500 pounds. They were like...
they were like... I used to say to myself, they look like baby Abdullah the Butchers.
Yes.
The headhunters.
Headhunters, that's right.
Yeah, they were giving them a quick push, too.
Hello to the OGs of ECW.
Hey, guys.
Does that mean originals?
That's
how about that?
Originals.
Believe it or not, I heard Eastern Championship Wrestling was trying to sign another mass super heavyweight tag team named the War Machines to set up a feud between them and the Super Destroyers. Oh, I never heard that one.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's not too late.
AJ's got the flip.
Not too late.
He's still ready to flip.
He's ready to flip, baby.
The War Machines never signed, and Eastern Championship Wrestling salvaged the storyline with a feud. I don't know what that means. I'm confused on that one, Nick. Let's see. John Paul. Every organization that Polly has ever worked in. I don't know what's that?
Paulie Dangerous.
Oh, Paulie has ever worked goes out of business eventually.
Yeah.
I don't think WWE is going out of business though.
Not anytime soon, but
no.
Were they sold out?
Love you, Dougie, from Gabe.
Love you too, brother. You're the man.
Great shirt, Mr. Dudley. What name did Doug Stahl work under in WCW? Vader won the WCW championship in Baltimore. It might have been him that he wrestled.
No, I wrestled against Ron Simmons that night. Ron Simmons got the strap, and I used Doug Stahl.
Okay.
Just did my gimmick. It's Doug Stahl.
You were stalled.
I remember walking out through the parking lot, through the the parking garage or whatever, and some people were hollering at Sid. I was walking out with Sid Vicious. They were hollering some stupid stuff at Sid, and I was kind of scared. I thought Sid's going to freak out on these guys, but he was cool. He was cool. Yeah.
Ron Simmons and Lex Luger won the belt in Baltimore.
Yep.
Isaac Pichardo. Hello, everyone. Glad to see this interview. What's up, Isaac?
What's up, Isaac?
Big supporter of ECW.
Thank you, Isaac.
You guys are the originals, he says.
Hoo-ah. That's right.
Really?
Thank you.
Gabe says, get my cousin wound up. It's classic.
Yeah. With the original.
No,
What was the original?
No, don't do it, Gabe.
Yeah, but Dudley's original too.
Hey. They called them ECW originals because WWE started their own ECW. Oh, okay. So when they brought the real guys, and they called them the ECW. All right, that makes sense. That clears it up.
Yeah.
I got it now. Gigolo Joe Zanoli, who was one of the original ECW referees. I think Hunter got involved originally when TWA winners and Mike Bruno did a birthday party for Hunter. This is how Hunter made the connection. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah,
How about that?
They used to do the birthday parties at Joel's school. So they did a birthday party for Hunter? That's hysterical.
Yeah.
That is hysterical.
Hunter's going on to make movies and stuff. He's done
I
very
saw
well.
that. I saw that.
He's doing very well. I'm happy for him.
So it wasn't like they were saying you guys weren't ECW original. It's just they called Sandman Tommy Balls. Okay. I got that. So Lloyd was the Samoan Warrior.
Yep. That's true.
Let's see.
Great guy.
Sad to talk about the WWE version of ECW, though it was horrible. Thought it was horrible. That's what I hear from everybody.
Imagine that.
Huh.
Let's see. Todd did an interview over trying to get Eastern Championship Wrestling footage from Vince. He spent $100,000 in legal fees. Todd withdrew the lawsuit because he didn't want to put up any more money yet. Ooh.
Wow. How about that?
How about that?
Oh. You know what's really crazy, and when I started doing this whole channel and going back and watching all this old Eastern stuff, and this is what inspired me to start doing these interviews, is so many people have just been reaching out and asking questions about it, and and asking, where is everybody? How is everybody? What's going on? Whatever. That's what I started doing these interviews. But I was like, honestly, I was pretty shocked. Because the product wasn't that good compared to what it became. and then Todd reached out the first time Todd reached out to me about 2 months ago when he came across the channel. I said to him the same thing, and he said the biggest thing people have asked him and the biggest questions about his book people have asked him is all about the Eastern era.
Well, It wasn't violent. It wasn't violent.
No.
It got violent, and then with ash cans and bring your own weapons and barbed wire and tacks, and that's when it got. I don't know if people were they trained already to get that violence? Because in the beginning, we were taught to sell a story.
So in your opinion, do you think it was needed, or do you think ECW could have got over without it, all the violence?
We didn't need that. What the hell did we need violence?
Yeah.
Doug, take over. I need a drink.
No, I think that the violence was part of that era. That they were going for the kind of like the shock jocks.
Yeah.
It was kind of like oh my God, I can't believe they did this. Or I can't believe they did that. And the further and further. I mean, I'm trying to think of the guys that they brought in. Brian, I can't think of his last name. He's since died, but he went him and oh shucks. There was another Johnny Rotten. He did the Rotten gimmick.
Axel Rotten and
oh my gosh,
Axel Ian Rotten.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember Axel started. Yeah, he started out in Baltimore.
Yeah,
and he was a heck of a worker, and then he went on to the ECW.
He actually went to WCW first.
Yes.
In the early 90s, he was in WCW.
And he was juicing all the time. He'd do anything and everything to get the exposure. And then eventually, bro, he ended up in a wheelchair. He ended up with all kinds of medical problems. And then, of course, he passed.
Yeah. Commercial break. You took
new sponsor, Mountain Dew.
Oh no. So I mean, great worker. I remember doing a show with him and Dick Karakoff, and I think I wasn't licensed or something in Virginia, and I ended up being a referee between Volkov and Ken Patera. And Ken Patera says, you're bigger than the workers or something, bigger than the boys or something.
Yeah.
Those guys had a match, and I had to referee it. That was fun. That was fun back in the day. But, so Brian, I mean, he was a heck of a worker, but
He's been really nice guy, too.
Yeah, super nice guy.
Yeah.
And how long ago did he die?
Oh.
5-10 years ago?
It's at least 5 years easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was sad.
Yeah. Shame.
He gave it all, bro. He gave it all.
He was a good dude.
Yeah. Super nice guy. Do anything for you. And I remember him growing up in the business. I don't know what happened to his partner. Whatever happened to his partner?
He's still floating around. I haven't heard much of him in the last few years, but as far as I know, he's still floating around.
And then it reminds me of Teddy. Remember Teddy with the rings and everything?
Ted Petty, Rocco Rock from the Public Enemy.
Yeah, he was a super good guy.
Yeah.
Super good guy. Yeah, he's
another
been
one.
dead for years. What, 20 years?
Yeah, it was 20 years. Yeah, because I went to his services, and it was early 2000s.
Wow.
I didn't see you there.
I was
I
there.
didn't see you there.
Oh,
I was there with cousin Luke and my cousin Frank. And you must have saw Sandman going up there. Todd Gordon was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sandman went up there to talk, and they had to drag him off the podium. He was a little bit under the weather.
Yeah. He was doing these, what was that, Steve Austin gimmick.
Yeah, right.
Drunk.
AJ, your cousin asked about the Hillbilly Hogan gimmick.
Oh, no.
What, when we trained him?
I guess so, yeah.
We were actually training up in Connecticut at Passarillo's, and Altamore come over to me and said, you're going to do a commercial. What? You're going to do a commercial with Hillbilly Jim and Hogan. We're bringing Hillbilly Jim in, which he was Harley Davidson down south.
Right.
So they said, on your way up to the training this weekend, you got to pick him up at the airport in Connecticut or wherever the hell it was, New York, and bring him up here. Well, I had a Volkswagen Rabbit diesel. Them guys don't fit in those cars.
Dude.
I didn't know you had anything other than a Mopar.
Right.
Well, that was 52 miles to the gallon, so I could afford that. So we get up to the training camp, and Hogan, of course, limos in, and we get into our workout equipment, and we're doing a commercial where I did a Hillbilly did a bear hug on me, and at the end of the second filming, we gave him his first wrestling boots and the gimmick. And that's still on here. It's somewhere on YouTube. You can hear it now and then. But that was interesting enough to see that I was lucky enough to be picked to do that. I mean, up at the school, we had like Paul Roma was there, like I said.
Sure.
Ted Mosidi, 700-pound bench presser. He couldn't work really well. He was stiff as a board, but he had the acclamations, man. He was strong. He'd shake your hand and he'd break it.
Wow.
But that was a good thing. It was really good. Does AJ and Doug know who the Mass Superstar was? What?
So Bulldog came and worked a couple shots, I think, before we had TV. Who was the Mass Superstar versus Bulldog? It was not Bill Eadie. I don't know who that was.
It wasn't Doug Gilbert, was it? Or?
No. I think that was before the whole Gilbert era, maybe. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. No, I don't remember.
I don't either.
I don't remember a British Bulldog in there.
Yeah, he came in.
I remember Brute. I remember the Bulldog.
Yeah, he came in, I think, for like a weekend of shots, like one time, maybe.
Yeah, he came in one show. I think he was there with, oh, shoot. What was his name? I can't think of his name, but he came in. I met him in the locker room. I was talking to him. He said, "It's a pleasure to meet me, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Yeah, okay,
was
bro.
Neidhart?
No, Neidhart was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Neidhart was at Schmitz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think ECW had a tape that featured ECW 92 matches. Yeah, they did. There was like from the Chestnut Cabaret, they had tapes that they were selling early on.
Yeah.
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 Which some of that stuff is on YouTube too. I've come across it a couple times. I don't know what it's labeled under. I think that's what it was labeled under. I think it was the Best of Eastern Championship Wrestling, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, everybody finds this stuff. Where the hell are we?
Huh.
Guess what, Bay? Tell AJ Mikey Whipwreck is working with my nephew Lucy's son Brad in Lansford.
He's on that card next week with them guys.
Who, Mikey?
Month. Yeah.
He's working still. Jesus. Everybody's still working.
Tried to make where is he, Mikey? I hope you're listening. I tried to make contact. You SOB. You didn't call back. Or text.
That's the business. That's the business.
Todd said it was a shoot with KC. KC.
Huh.
Let's see. I'm a bit behind here. I had to pause for a bit, but yes, Lords of Darkness, Gil and Hardy. WWA show. Before the show, Sandman came out and attacked the Spider, Glenn Ruth, and set up the WWA versus ECW show that year. I think that ended up being that convention at the Radisson Hotel by the Philly airport.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd, I think he probably meant JT. Todd said stuff about hiring JT and different shoots he did. Okay. TNA been using ECW guys every so often since the beginning. Let's see. The violence was a double-edged sword. That's kind of interesting. How do you guys feel? Do you think it ended up hurting the business and the breaking of kayfabe and stuff like that? Were you guys for it, against it?
Well, I think AJ was more. I mean, obviously, without a storyline, all the violence means really nothing. I mean, people can jump off. I remember JT jumping off of a balcony. It just didn't make sense. There was just no story to it.
Yeah.
Sabu, that was. I think that was good enough. But when you're doing all the, bringing out the trash cans and the blood and stuff like that, I don't know. It kind of loses. It's all about the soap opera, if you will.
Sure.
People want a story. They want to come back next week. Oh my gosh, the Super Destroyers against the Blondes, and what's going to happen next week with Chris Candido and Hotbody and all that stuff. I mean, I think the storyline's more important than all the violence, and again back to the shock jock. Yeah. After a while, the shock jock just kind of rubs off.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion.
That's a good analogy too. This whole shock jock thing.
Yeah. Eventually, it's just kind of powdered out like everything else.
After ECW, Ian Rotten started up his IWA Mid-South in '96. Let's see. Too many guys got injured for little money.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Axel died in 2016, so about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Teddy died in 2002.
Yeah. Super good guy. Both of them.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, all Super Destroyers for here. Tony. Down Under 1969. Let's see. Super Destroyer for here. Did I mean for life?
For life.
Super Destroyer for here. There we go. Brian Adams Crush. Crush.
He's dead, isn't he?
No.
No.
Crush died.
Yeah, Crush is dead.
Adams is still alive.
Adam Bomb is still alive.
Adams is still alive. Yeah. Crush was the one under the hood.
Yeah.
He's
dead. He's dead. Adams is still alive. He's doing well. He just turned 60.
Yeah, I just saw pictures of him the other day. He looks great.
Yeah, he looks great.
Axel did his shoot from his rehab facility before he died. It was really sad. Oh, damn.
From a wheelchair, no doubt. What a sad ending.
Kerry Von Erich was there with Bulldog. Was he?
I don't remember Kerry being there.
I don't remember Kerry being there either.
I remember Kerry. Of course, I worked with him with Karakoff and all those guys. I remember being in Guam with Kerry and Hawaii and all that stuff.
Did he
And
know where he
back then,
was?
I didn't. What's that?
Did he know where he was?
No, and it was funny. He was going out doing these pictures, basically wrestlers against drugs.
Okay.
He was back in the locker room doing whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I drift and going out doing pictures, and I always thought it was peculiar. That sounds kind of strange, but he left one boot on while he was in the shower. Back then, I didn't know why,
Right.
and now I know why because of the movie and everything else. I knew he had lost half a foot. I
Yeah.
didn't know he completely lost his foot.
Wow.
But he always wore his boot. Never one boot. I think it was the right leg, if I recall. That's a long time ago. But anyhow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, his wife was some Miller Lite model or something like that at the time, I think, or girlfriend. He took her on tour with us to Guam and Hawaii.
Wow.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Jamie, the prison guard, is down under 69.
Oh, really? Jamie stopped by to see me. He's a great dude. I love Jamie.
Did you see the movie, The Iron Claw?
I have not seen it.
I just saw it. I wasn't a fan.
No, it wasn't a good. It was okay. It was totally. It didn't catch everything I thought from what I knew, but
well, Eddie Guerrero said they were just contacted to do a family thing with them. The Guerreros.
Let's see. Now everyone is wearing sneakers and no boots. What the fuck?
That's bad. I mean, that's another thing. No professionalism.
Yeah. Jamie Brown is number 4.
There we go. Super Destroyer 4.
And Kerry's last tape match was in ECW.
Was it really? I didn't know that.
Supposedly it was that the show, the NWA versus ECW show at the hotel.
Huh.
I guess I don't remember him being there that night. We were there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Crazy.
Yes, I do remember because Balomo was there and Todd wanted to get pictures with Balomo and Kerry thought Balomo was a fan. I do remember that. Balomo kept telling him, I'm over to go, get out of here. That's funny. Remember that. That was, yes.
That's hysterical.
I don't remember.
That's hysterical.
That is, it was dumb. Makes sense now. He didn't know who Sal was.
I remember Kerry. I talked to Jimmy Dio. Remember Jimmy Dio?
Yeah, Maniac Jimmy Dio.
Super nice guy. He wrestled Kerry the day before he went home and killed himself.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he wrestled Kerry in Boonesboro, Maryland for Dick Karakoff. Kerry, I guess, flew home and later on ended his life. But Jimmy Dio worked him that night, and it was in Boonesboro, Maryland, livestock place.
Wow.
So crazy.
So sad.
Yeah. What was it? 2 or 3 of them that ended their lives that way. At least 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Let's go back. You're working on me. Let's go back to the violence.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what Doug said about the double sword and all of that.
Right.
I think, he came later on. I was back in the early days when we didn't have that with Vince. And, a lot of guys then were cutting themselves and this and that. And I think about it back in the day, that might have been the most violent thing that ever happened. Because you wouldn't see a lot of this stuff happening today. And when we changed from Eastern to Extreme, who came up with this concept? I mean, what was the idea? Whose idea was it? Where did it come from? And why did it turn from like a family oriented to, again, with the chairs and tables and barbed wire and bats and ironings and ironing boards and bring your own weapons? What was the concept? Is that what somebody wanted? Was there a poll?
Well, before the whole ECW thing, that's what Goodhart was doing. Goodhart was doing all that stuff, and he had some shows where he drew 2,000-3,000 people at.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Goodhart.
Because of the violence.
Yeah, of course.
It was different back then. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. So when Joel went out of business and Todd took over, Todd wanted to do more family oriented stuff, but everybody wanted the violence. The fans wanted the violence.
I believe it as well, especially you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah.
City of brotherly love. They wanted to see all the violence.
Exactly.
We didn't do it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, you did the chair from the day one. What are you talking about? Chairs.
Well,
we did chairs and tables ourselves.
Yeah, well, that was different. We just us, not everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
You
And
still
that's
carry the
that
chair.
part. I mean, all of a sudden, there we are. There we go again. We started the whole thing with the tables and chairs, and who else got acclamations for it?
I remember getting hit with a beer bottle one night in Michael J. Schmidt's bar.
Really?
Was it empty?
Oh yeah. I don't know what it was. It was on the floor. I saw it. It hit me. I mean, they threw it and it hit me, and then I looked down. I could tell. I saw what it was. Didn't break or anything, of course.
Right.
Of course, I had a mask on, but it was kind of crazy there. And of course, you had the guy with the hats on. What was his name? I love that guy.
Bailey, the hat guy.
Oh man, did he give us a hard time? I loved it.
John Bailey, yeah.
If
John
you
Bailey.
were there, it was like the night's off. We're not going to have fun.
He's like a manager now in the business.
Good for
Yeah,
him.
they say that.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember that night we broke the one guy's leg? One of the pit bulls, Anthony? No, Wolf.
Gary?
Oh, yeah.
Gary, we broke his leg.
Yeah.
It wasn't on purpose. Gary, if you're listening, it wasn't on purpose.
No. Now, which one died? Gary's still alive, right?
Yeah, Gary's alive. He's down Florida, and he actually just opened a wrestling school like a month or two ago.
Yeah, I signed up.
There you go. He's teaching the flip.
Yeah.
I sent him
He's
a
still
message.
the flip, man.
I asked him, where do I sign up? When can I come down?
You might have to sell another Corvette.
Maybe. I just sold the last one.
Oh, man.
He's doing good. He called me about 3 weeks ago. He's doing good. So let me ask you this one because you touched on it a little bit. So Hotbody, did you guys have a heat or beef or something or?
Tony did. Tony did.
Look on some
What
of
about the
tapes
earrings? What about the earrings? The guy
Let me say this because I've been talking to Johnny a lot since he did an interview with me, and we've been talking a couple times a week. And
he's a good guy. He really is.
You know what? He is a very good guy, and he feels very bad now because he said to me, he goes, "I don't even understand why you talk to me because I was such an asshole to you and everybody else back then." He goes, "I can't believe you give me the time of day."
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a point there. No, but Tony ran the locker room at the time. I mean, it wasn't like everybody knew it, but they did, you know.
Right.
And he just didn't put up with the BS. And of course, you know, had some of the big boys, like you said earlier. I mean, Don Morocco, JYD, all those boys were coming. It was JYD was there, wasn't he?
No.
I don't think. No, I don't think
He
so.
was in the locker room. It wasn't maybe not with ECW, but you know, Morocco was there. I mean, they did their things, playing cards, you know, doing their gimmick and stuff. But you ran the place, and it was everybody. You didn't book it. You weren't the booker.
No.
But everybody knew that, you know.
Do you really want to know what happened? Seriously?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's water over the bridge right now, and it's probably dirty water now. But we had a match, and you could see the match on. I forget where it was. Doug and I against him and the Blondes. And
okay.
We did some kind of a move, and he nailed me behind my head with the mask. You can't see nothing behind you.
Okay.
And he railed me in the back of the head so bad. You could see it on the tape.
Right.
I blacked out actually. I was seeing triple stars. And when I shook my head a few times it came to, I lost it. I started punching him and you could see the goddamn one film. I'm nailing him with everything. And then I ripped his earring out of his ear. And he,
Three of them.
thank
There
God,
were three of them.
thank God he was there because things kind of separated. We went back in the dressing room and he come back and I was still livid and he's holding me back.
Oh, jeez.
It would have been bad. And Crockett was there. That's when Crockett came that night. Because it was crazy because Eddie Gilbert was there, Crockett was there, and they were fighting over control. And I thought, it's what you can't do these things, especially when you're wearing a hood. You're limited as it is.
Yeah.
And when we have the screen masks on, we're really limited because it's a double screen.
Yeah.
And when this happened, I'm not going to lie. I don't get mad often, but I lost it. I did. I lost it.
That's a fact.
He probably saved Johnny's life that night by holding me in the dressing room because I was out of it.
More than once. There was a couple times you went back after him. I was like, oh my God.
Well, I got hit so hard. I mean, I don't get knocked out, but I was out. I was out. And if I saw the tape now and then on ECW reruns, and I look, I don't know how I didn't go down. I just was shaking my head, and the mask almost came off, and I could see in the tape me pulling it back down. So I must have just blacked out for a little bit.
Yeah,
that's what happened. I just lost it. And
you were pretty miffed.
He was cocky in the dressing room. That's the way he was, though. I mean,
that's the way he was. Yeah, he was very cocky.
He was mouthy, but he's really. I mean, I don't know if it's age or whatever, but.
Well, I miss him now. I mean, I'd love to get back in the ring with him and Michaels.
He could work. He could work. Him and Candino.
He was
way before he died. For a while. They were fun to work with.
Yeah.
Till that night.
What happens? I mean, shit. Somebody's going to get paid.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But yeah, it's 30 years later. It's water under the bridge. Whatever.
Yeah. What's that really question about Kerry? Or that statement?
Just Kerry's last tape match was in ECW.
Wow. I don't remember Kerry. Were we there with Kerry?
Yeah, we were at that convention center.
Yeah, it was at the hotel at the convention.
How about that?
That's the night Kerry wore a mask to be a surprise, but wore his Kerry jacket.
He was a little slow, wasn't he? Wasn't he a little slow?
Oh, that's hysterical.
Yeah, he seemed a little slow for some reason.
Yeah.
He liked to get
all I know is Zac Efron looked like $1 million in the movie.
Yeah.
Playing Kerry. Not Kerry.
I think he played the wrong role.
Poor
what
Gary.
What the hell is this? Gary Wolf had his neck broken.
Yes, he broke his neck and after with Shane.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, this is when I was there as a Dudley. I can't wait to talk with Gary about this. So they did the angle. He had the fucking the halo, it's bolted into his head and all. And they did the angle where Gary got in the ring and Shane went up to him and grabbed him by the halo and was shaking him. I remember I was sitting in the locker room watching on the monitor, and I was like, oh my God, everybody's lost their mind. And you just heard the whole crowd was about ready to jump over the guardrail and attack Shane. It was insane. Even everybody in the back in the locker room that didn't know it was going to happen, everyone was just like, what the hell's going on?
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh
what
my
the
Lord.
Hell? Where are you on? I'm getting texted on my phone. Where are you guys on?
See that? What do you mean?
We're on here.
We're on here. We're on YouTube.
Ay.
Too funny.
Yeah.
And,
well, guys, I'm going to have to powder out. Powder out of here.
Well, guys, this has been amazing. So good talking to you guys.
I got to work tomorrow. How about you? No, retired.
Tomorrow I'm going to look at a car.
He's going to go.
No doubt. Guys, it's been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Take care, man. It's great seeing you. And just to give you a heads up, I'm going to do more of these and do like tag ones and put you guys, and we'll do like joint ones with other people, and I'll have some fun and catch up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bring Hotbody in.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, Stetson, how about Stetson?
Doug.
Bring Stetson in.
I will. I definitely will.
Goodbye, Doug. Goodbye,
What's
Doug.
that?
Goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye.
Doug.
Have a
Goodbye,
good night,
Doug.
guys.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much. All right.
Oh man.
Dudley, find out
Hey.
about the book. Find out about the book if you can.
I will. I got to get this book, and I'm going to do the audio book and literally listen and just take a million notes.
Okay, what's going on here? We got another question.
The screen and the mask had to be hard to wrestle in those bar shows with poor lighting.
Yeah, like wrestling in a dark room with a red light on. All you could see is waves. Like it's very, how would you say, shadows. That's what you could see, shadows. You had to really know where your surroundings were. It was one of those things. What are we still on?
We're still on. Yeah, I'm gonna close it off though, because we're let's see. Last comment from your cousin. Gabe is driving to Philly tomorrow.
Okay, good for you. Maybe he'll come and see you. You're in Jersey though, right?
Man, I'm in Nashville.
Go ahead.
I'm in Nashville.
Nashville where?
Tennessee.
Why?
I moved here 4 years ago.
Oh my God, we have to talk. I still counsel on the weekends.
What do you come down here?
No, but I
counsel.
You
just want to counsel me? Oh boy.
Yeah.
On
listen,
that.
If you want to do something down the road there with a lot, look up. If you want to look up Fracture Fransburg, I did a mask gimmick with Vince for a while before they sent us overseas, and I never lost on some of the bigger guys that nobody knew about.
All right, yeah.
When I came back, Mario Mancini filled in. Well, he wasn't my size then, and then they killed the gimmick.
All right, yeah, we'll do some deep diving into all this stuff.
Down the road. Well, have a good time. I appreciate it.
You too, AJ.
This is number 4 that I did podcast, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And hopefully we can run into each other again and maybe share the ring one more time. I don't hear a bell.
No, yeah, we'll talk.
You can manage.
I'll manage.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
take care.
Take care. Bye.
You too.
Bye.